Welcome back. More than 3,500 users have turned to an AI career coach for more personalized help in navigating the job market. The digital tool is run by the National Trades Union Congress. The move by the labor movement aims to prepare workers for disruptions brought by AI. Now, users can assess career readiness and identify skill gaps with features like an AI resume builder and an interview simulator. Real-time guidance on training options and in-demand roles are also available through its chat function. One fresh graduate says these initiatives offered a much-needed boost to her confidence. She secured a job 1 month after using the tools.
Most of the time, I will use AI interviews to practice for my interviews skills. Yeah. So from there, I also managed to do this practice at my own pace and at my own time, because it's this platform is 24 hours, and they also provide feedback, also give us feedback on how to better answer our answer for the interviews. And from there, I also build up some of the be more confident in doing my interviews.
These efforts show NTUC's commitment to our AI-Ready SG initiative. Together with our tripartite partners, we will journey with our workers so that every worker can grow, seize new opportunities, and succeed.
With job seekers using AI tools to polish their resumes, it means recruiters will have to sift through even more applications than before. But as AI becomes part of the hiring process, could it also be introducing new forms of bias? Well, let's find out from our next guest. We have Glen Chua, who is a senior manager at recruitment consultancy Robert Walters. Glen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we heard earlier from the job application side, people are using AI coaches to prepare for interviews. Now, on the recruitment side, is AI being used in the hiring process, and to what extent is it involved?
Yes, it has become a fixture. There have been many organizations of various sizes that have started embracing and adopting AI as part of their hiring process.
In what form does this take? Is it just about screening CVs, or is it also AI sitting in interviews and actually processing what is going on?
No, very good question. It comes in many different shapes and forms, and just to name a few, it can come in the form of simply writing a job description or a job advertisement, which could take 10 minutes, but then it becomes 2 minutes. It could come in the form of ranking profiles from your top 10 to your top 3. And it could also come in the form of sourcing and searching for that one unicorn CV that you could be working on for a niche role.
With AI being involved, it actually can be quite interesting to see how the hiring process plays out. Because on one hand, you have the job applicants who are using AI to craft their resumes and prepare for the interviews. But on the other hand, you also have the recruitment side using AI to screen them. So what do you think happens to the hiring process? How is it going to evolve with AI involved on both sides?
It does certainly make the qualification of the profiles and the candidates a lot more interesting. I think the standard of profiles have definitely improved with the empowerment and the harnessing of AI. However, that might not necessarily also be the case that what we might be reading on paper might not necessarily be true. But I do feel that candidates are able to utilize this to fully express the skill sets that they have. And this also enables them to get through the door and to meet the right hiring managers and to be able to properly express themselves.
And on the recruitment side, would AI also then help screen perhaps for untruths or perhaps discrepancies in the way the resumes are written?
Yeah, that certainly does play an advantage for us. However, the nuances that we do find that we are able to pick out do normally tend to come when we are qualifying candidates face to face, where you might not normally get that doing or practicing with AI, but more so when you have that human element involved. When you talk about tone, you talk about body language, all that comes into play and all that becomes part of the equation. And that allows us to make a better judgment call on what's qualified and what's not qualified from a CV standpoint.
Well, I want to get into the human element in just a bit. But before that, how will the AI, is it possible that it will then introduce a kind of bias, perhaps towards seniors or women or any such group, when AI is involved without too much of a human oversight?
Certainly, with that, there are very many variables involved because of AI now. And with AI, AI learns from historical data and patterns. And some of these historical data and patterns have bias already involved in it. And when repeated, there is a tendency for sometimes for this to resurface, and that could potentially compromise the integrity of the current search. Therefore, it is important that constant auditing is done to ensure that there's full avoidance of that.
Well, you brought up the idea of human oversight earlier, and there's also the fear, perhaps, that a lot of soft skills or perhaps certain things that might not be revealed immediately on paper might be missed if AI is relied upon to choose candidates. So what would you say possibly could be lost as humans take a slightly more back seat with regard to this hiring process?
Good question. Look, I still feel that we just need to harness AI in accordance to what's on hand and for it to be complementary to our search. AI can do all the heavy lifting for us, but the user, the hiring manager, the talent partner needs to come into the picture to establish and to ascertain the interpersonal skills or the culture fit of the candidate to be able to make a marked decision on what's qualified and what's not qualified.
So if you were to run us through the process here, let's say I come for an interview, would AI be the first point of a sieving and a contact? Then the hiring managers come in with the interpersonal aspects, or how would you structure this interview, so to speak, from a recruitment perspective?
Very good question. I think it also depends on the type of role that that's on hand and that we're talking about. It could work both ways. You could go down the AI route, followed by the interpersonal, face-to-face human touch route, or it could be vice versa. However, given where we are at this stage, it needs to be a partnership. There needs to be a collaboration between AI and how we utilize our skill sets and how we utilize human interaction to really get the best out of making the right decisions and making the right calls on this.
Now, very quickly before we go, Glen, how would you see the role of AI evolve, say, in the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to the hiring process? Do you see it taking over the process entirely, or what's your projection of how this might play out?
I do think there will be certain scenarios and cases where there could be certain users that might allow AI to take over, but that could also pose a bit of complacency. Again, I do feel that there is the utmost importance to have a blend and a combination of both, to utilize AI to harness and empower how we're doing our searches, and with that being said as well, how candidates are also utilizing AI to improve their chances of landing that ideal job and that ideal role.
And very quickly also, any quick tips for any recruiters who are using AI for the first time or are starting to use AI?
Embrace AI. I think that's a wonderful tool. It certainly helps with time efficiency, but I'll probably leave it here with saying that the human touch supersedes all. Human interaction will always allow you to establish and to evaluate certain synergies and chemistries between the candidate and the employer, and that will be what sets AI and the human touch apart.
It is human resources, after all.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights with us, Glen. I've been speaking with Glen Chua, who is a senior manager at recruitment consultancy Robert Walters.